things over and over again. I'm addressing this because I want to make sure anyone who's coming in
I'm deconstructing.
Does know kind of like what I'm addressing. And I just want to let everyone know I will be addressing things and having people come up and people can ask questions and give constructive criticism and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say again, like I looked at this tour as genuinely something that could bring about a lot of good change and like spread our message towards like, you know, effective, good, real change.
But now I realized it was all a fucking lie.
I still want to continue a movement, obviously, with people who are a part of the movement that are not affiliating themselves with National Ground Game and Z and
thank God
them, or the Unfuck America tour. Because again, for new people who are still coming on the live and first hearing it, they're apparently still going to continue it, which I think is insane.
That's insane. After microaggressing against black women? Unbelievable, guys.
But something I'm really angry about.
Yeah, super angry.
But
I'm crying, I'm shaking, and
yeah,
pissing and shitting myself and coming all over myself.
I want to make sure that I can address everything. Give me a second to, again, for everyone, why it took me time and took me to go through this was I wanted to process things. I wanted to reflect upon the behaviors that I've engaged in, reflect upon everything that happened. I wanted to listen to the concerns of people. Are you and Dean still cool? Yes, Dean and I are still cool. We're still friends.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
That's
it's
good.
nothing like I'm not friends with people. So I just, you know, I'm addressing this because I think it's important for me to address this alone. Like I addressed this with Dean and with the entire tour, but I definitely don't feel like I addressed it enough from my point and my perspective where people could understand that I need to be held accountable, that it's important to hold me accountable. It's important for people on the left to deconstruct.
Deconstruct, guys.
And that I'm still engaging in that process of deconstruction, right? Especially with people like around me who are my friends. Still engaging in deconstruction. It's an important thing to do.
True.
Is that it's a continual process of deconstruction.
Yes. King.
And like again, for people who didn't hear prior, again, a good way to deconstruct is to stop and listen to people who are in marginalized communities, right? It's to continue to educate yourself, right? Whether this be in ways that are effective for you, whether that be through infographics, videos, theory, reading books. There's so many different ways. Audiobooks especially, because I'm one of those people that I'm not someone who really enjoys reading, but audiobooks can be effective in those circumstances. Theory can be effective in those circumstances for like based upon like a what's the word I was looking for? Audiobooks and like people break down theory and like videos and stuff like that, YouTube, and what was the other word I was looking for? Videos, YouTube.
What else?
Audiobooks. Wow, I'm sorry. My brain is all over the place.
That's okay. It's a stressful situation.
So again, for anyone who's still coming in here, I just want to clarify one more time. Oh, podcast. Yes, that's a great thing. I'll clarify one more time. And then, by the way, I'm going to bring people up and I'm going to talk about things, let people ask questions, bring constructive criticism, things like that.
Thank
again,
God.
I think that's really important,
Yes.
again, to hold us accountable. And to not just like, you know, like
You can't just move past this like
not
nothing
address these things.
happened.
I think it's super important to address them.
Yes.
So again, to recap for people who are just joining in, Z, one of the organizers for the Unfuck America tour, engaged in racist microaggressions towards a panel of black women.
Unbelievable.
And this was something that the tour was informed about before.
That's the worst thing. These guys knew. They already knew about the microaggressions.
Again, under our impression, we thought this was being like privately addressed, and we hoped that it would lead to a public addressal, like addressing of this, and possibly her stepping down. Like, and that's something that I would have wanted, and I think that I didn't do enough in ensuring that that happened prior to the tour, enforcing that to happen prior. I think that that's something I have responsibility for, and something that I need to take accountability for, and like I wholeheartedly disagree with people that say that I did nothing wrong.
He did do wrong. Thank God he's also is it self-flagellation? Is he self-flagellating himself? Self-flagellating himself. Good one.
I think those are important things to address. And I think that right now is a good time to have people come up and to ask questions and to do
Reflection. Thank God. Yes.
do Q&A about everything that happened, constructive criticism. I think that's super important.
Agreed.
So we are going to address things and answer questions and stuff like that. So do give me a second, everyone, and we will address this.
Okay.
Alrighty.
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 Let me make sure that I keep this on. Yo, what's up?
Hi, I've actually never requested up here, but really enjoy your live. I've noticed that Santana and Dean have all took accountability, and I really do appreciate you for taking the time to hop on as well. And I understand the next steps with Z and the Unfuck America tour, but one thing I haven't got confirmation on is how you all will be moving forward with Johnny.
Ooh, does he need
His
to be canceled?
microaggressions were really bad from what I've seen in live. And I'm
Damn, I don't even know who Johnny is. Johnny microaggressed as well? Oh
No
my
fucking
God.
way.
Unbelievable, Johnny.
His microaggressions were really bad from what I've seen in live, and I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, I'm actually not as familiar with what has happened with Johnny as
How
of
could you
right
not
now. That's something
know?
that I need to look into.
You don't even know? Are you fucking serious?
I need to look into.
Do you even care about Black women?
So that's not something I'd be able
What the
to address.
fuck?
What the fuck?
Frankly. But like as of right now. So like
Gotcha.
yeah,
I would say
I
yes to
definitely
try to
will.
get ahead of it, because I don't want, again, for it to come out that you're kind of avoiding it as well.
Yeah.
But he does need to be reprimanded for his actions and how he continues to deflect and victimize himself.
True.
Yeah, I think that accountability is super important. I think that it's really important to address these things. That's why I think that this live is really important to do, especially to talk to people,
Yeah.
and especially so people can provide constructive criticism. And I definitely hope that people provide this as well to me and hold me accountable as well. And I will look into this, and it's definitely not something that I want to gloss over or not look at. So I think that those things are very important.
Gotcha. Well, that's the only question I have. And yeah, definitely don't talk to that Z girl no more. She's insane.
True.
But
She's
yeah,
great.
I'll go.
Appreciate
How
you.
do I get up out of here?
Thank you so much.
How do I leave? Okay,
Oh, I
I'm
got
sorry.
you. Don't worry. So people are telling me to turn the comments off. I'm
people are
not quite sure if
microaggressing
that's something that
in the
people would
comments?
like in the comments, or
But we
if
also
that's
need to
something that
center
would
Black
be
voices in the
effective to do.
comments. So, what do you want me to do, guys?
No. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for telling me. I just wanted to make sure to address that with the chat and everything before. Alrighty. Let me try to get someone up here.
Okay. I'm sure he's got Black women lined up to come in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank God. Yes.
Hi.
Another queen.
Parker, I respect everything you're saying and everything you're doing. I just wanted to know what was going to happen with the Peyton situation.
What happened to Peyton?
I'm actually not really familiar fully with what's
Is he
happening
based
with
or is he
Peyton.
cringe? Did he become cringe?
I do know
Uh-oh.
to some degree. One thing I do want to say is that I think it's important for white people to call out racism, and I do think that Peyton played an instrumental role
Thank
in
God.
calling
Yeah.
these things out,
But-
and I do think that needs to be addressed. And although I do think that there are legitimate concerns, I do think that he should have talked to and addressed everyone on the tour who was Black. I think that would have been important, especially so that there would have been less misinformation spread. But I do think that it was important that there was an original addressing of this and accountability, and I think that those things are important to address. That's at least the perspective on that I take. I'm not quite familiar with anything else associated with Peyton, but I do think that it's important to call out racism, call out microaggressions.
True.
Okay, I was just checking, and also, I noticed in your comment section, a lot of reasons why everyone is saying right now to turn them off is because there has been a lot of comments saying that there is no reason that like white individuals need to apologize for how Black people feel about certain like comments being made because of certain things. So I didn't know if like I was just letting you know about that situation. That's why the comments, certain people want the comments off.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is something that I would like to say in the chat.
Racist.
We would like to turn comments off to get rid of these bad comments, but I also kind of want to center Black voices. And so I have to kind of keep comments on. So I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how to balance this out.
It's important to hold white creators accountable for the behavior that they engage in.
For being racist.
I don't agree with the people who think that there shouldn't be anything addressed. Right, when people of a marginalized community speak up about the fact that something is harmful, I think it's important to acknowledge those things. So I very much disagree with the comments on that, and I also just I am open to that, but I also just like to turning off the comments, but I just also just don't want to limit people from saying anything.
True.
Or to being able to hold me accountable.
He's like a fucking hostage. He's like petrified that if he turns off comments, that these same people are going to be making posts about him or lives or whatever the fuck later on, saying that oh, he was trying to silence critical voices by turning off comments. That's why he's leaving them on, by the way. That's what he's petrified of right now.
Or to be able to address things in the chat. So I'm actually not quite sure.
Doesn't even know what to do.
Whether or not I should turn them off at this point. Do you have an opinion on that specifically?
Tell me what to do.
I wouldn't turn them off at all. I wouldn't turn them off at all.
Okay,
people are going to think people have the right to have their own opinion. And at the end of the day, it's always going to end up like that. So I would just keep them open because everyone's point of view is valid, even if it is offensive.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know if I would say that
Careful. When you say everyone, you mean white people as well? Because, I don't know if we're buying that one, Queen.
People who have offensive opinions, theirs are valid. The reason why I would want to keep the chat open is not for the people engaging in
not the offensive people, not the whiteies, but the Black queens.
Type of offensive behavior or racism or anything like that, or microaggressions. It's so that people can hold me accountable, can address any constructive criticism that they have for me, the tour, how I'm involved with the movement, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Base.
That's all I have, Parker. Thank you for having me up.
Good answer. Good answer, King.
Again, everyone, I just want to address that with the chat. Please don't be going around saying that I shouldn't be having to take accountability. I think it's really instrumentally important for me to take accountability and for me to address this, everyone.
True.
I think that's a really important thing for us to do, especially as creators.
True.
I also just want to address that. Also, please do not be fucking microaggressive in the comment section.
Are you microaggressing in the comment section when this is about microaggressing? Guys, come on!
That's also something I've been hearing about on Discord and in the comment sections on a lot of these streams. Please do not do that. I think that's important to address.
Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
So, one thing that's confusing me about
Do you think he has somebody screening callers for just exclusively Black women?
situation as a Black woman is, I believe you got.
Oh,
right?
What? Oh.
The woman.
What'd you say?
Sorry.
The woman who was hosting the tour, you guys knew her, right? Before.
Uh-oh. Did you know she was a racist crack-ass bitch?
So yeah, the way that I met Z was some of my friends informed me that there was someone trying to do a tour. So this was the only time I met her wasn't any time prior to the notion of the Unfuck America tour, but it was them coming to us with the idea of the Unfuck America tour. So I didn't know them prior or anything like that, but I did know them prior to boots on the ground in Texas.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to, because in my mind, I was just asking because typically, people like this, they'll say things
that show you they're racist.
They'll say the microaggressions and stuff like that behind the scenes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was just trying to make sure that it wasn't a situation where it was where
you guys were hearing the microaggressions.
You may have overheard things. Sorry, I'm nervous. May have overheard things in person and then ignored it until it hit the internet.
Yeah. Not good, guys.
So I didn't hear anything in person. The specific like microaggressions I'm addressing on live that Z engaged in were microaggressions on a live like full of a panel of Black women that were bringing up valid concerns like about the Unfuck America tour, like how it's branded, like what is the goal of everything? What are we getting from this?
Yeah.
And she was like racist, engaging in racist microaggressions on that live.
Yikes.
And this was stuff that the tour knew about prior, and it was something that we, at least to my understanding, thought was being privately addressed. I wanted there to be a public addressal for this, and for there to be like some type of step down. And when it comes to that, none of those concerns were met. Especially to hindsight looking back on this, and like I think that I genuinely and Dean and
you guys messed
should
up.
have forced more accountability and addressing of this prior to being boots on the ground, because when we were on the boots on the ground, it's not like we can leave at that point. There's people there, there's creators there already, things like that. So I definitely think that there should have been, especially from me, right? Yeah. There should have been a public, or there should have been a force, right? Like we force
the Force Awakens
to either provide the accountability, the step down before, or we're not even going to show up.
Yeah.
And hindsight, I think that like me not doing that is very bad.
Oh yeah.
Very, very bad, and it's something I need to take accountability for. And
they love that accountability word.
Like one of the reasons I'm on here today and addressing this, and I think that's important to address and hold ourselves accountable for.
Thank you. And I understand everything you're saying. Another thing that kind of threw me off is, so like, it wasn't exactly you, but you were in the live stream. It was the one that took place like yesterday or 2 days ago.
And he saw
and
the
then Dean did an
microaggression?
individual live stream. And
I hope not.
I don't know, Peyton was kind of, it seemed like the way everybody was talking about Peyton, it was like as if he was being villainized, and I was just kind of confused on that, because
he was literally a
from
white
what
savior.
I'm seeing from Peyton's content is that you guys didn't take action and Peyton did.
Wow.
And I don't know, I'm just kind of confused on why like Dean and everyone was so upset with Peyton.
Yeah, some of the things that I've heard as reasons why is that he didn't talk to all the Black creators involved with the tour to like specify certain things, and like he spreaded misinformation about those types of things. But I do think that he played an instrumental like role in like calling this out, and I think it was important for him to call this out. So I want to make it clear that like it's important to call those things out. I don't think that people think he did something wrong by calling it out. I think that people were saying that they had something wrong with like him.
Listen to
not
these
addressing
white
it with,
excuses.
like, the Black creators involved with the tour.
Okay. And another thing that I just have to ask, and this isn't really like tour related, but it's like Black community related. So I've been watching like y'all content for a while, and you guys like tend to cover like bad things that Donald Trump is doing and like stuff that he's acting on. But sometimes like my side of TikTok, it's very like Black American. So like I'm very like on the Black community side of the TikTok, and a lot of the things that happen that like Donald Trump is doing, I don't know, I'll see like the Black community talk about certain things that he's doing that specifically affect Black Americans, but then I don't see you guys cover it in your content ever. It's more like things that white Americans can also be impacted by. Like I don't see, like on Black TikTok, it's like even like certain, I don't know the specific thing that he did, but it was something he did, I'm sorry, I can't think of the specific thing right now, but it was something he did, when he got rid of something that would allow businesses to not be able to segregate. That had like the Black community in a chokehold for
the
like
white people didn't say
months.
shit about
My
it.
whole TikTok.
You remember your key answer here as a white soy leftist is always, I just didn't want to center myself over Black voices. I just wanted to give Black people an opportunity to talk about it. But then if they're 7 soy steps ahead of you, they'll go, I agree, it's not your place to say anything about it, but you could have used your platform to center Black voice. You could have brought on Black people to speak about it. And then your counter would try to speak, well, I thought they were getting enough attention already, and I didn't want to make it about myself by hosting those people. But then their counter could be, well, then you shouldn't have posted anything when that was going on so that people would be watching your TikToks instead of, I don't know, it's fucking retarded.
All I saw was that. And then, like, y'all didn't cover it at all. And I was just so surprised.
Yeah, what the
Like, there's just a lot of things, I don't know, that the Black community gets so concerned about that Donald Trump is doing and that whole party. And I just never see you guys
don't say
cover
shit
it.
about
That's
it.
all. I'm not saying you guys do that on purpose or
They
not.
do.
I'm just saying,
it is
like,
on purpose. It is
one thing
on
I would
purpose,
like
Queen.
to see more is maybe some of that, but I don't know if just because, like I said, like my media consumption, it's a predominantly black space, so maybe you guys aren't seeing this, but I don't know. That was just something that was a concern I had.
Yeah, so to my understanding, it was to remove protections for segregation, like within the
Yes.
context of like the federal government,
Yeah.
and it is something like that has been brought up on live, but I agree it's something that should be talked
Talk about
more.
more. True.
And I agree that like especially like the lives that I've run and whatnot, especially historically, haven't talked
talk
enough
about it
about
enough.
issues that extend
To the
towards
black
Black
community.
America.
Yes.
And I think it's important
King.
to address that and to diversify my content more. And that's something that I have been thinking about, and I've heard people bring up recently that I think is important to like add into like my content,
Thank
especially
you.
for the future.
Thank you.
So I would agree with that as as like an important thing to like address, like more than I currently do.
Thank you to the people in the comments who are saying W Kiara, but there was one comment I saw and they said if he was to do that, you guys will all call him a white savior.
Ooh.
And that's not true. That
Oh, he brought up the. Oh no, he brought up the thing. Wait. Does she have the counter?
had to be a white person who commented that because that is not true. That is not true at all. Like, that is not what Black Americans call white saviors.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also think it's yeah, like talking about that process. It's important also
all we got,
to
okay.
like
That's okay.
to be involved with Black creators, right? So that I can like build up their platforms, right? And I can specifically like help direct people towards these issues that are
Oh, there we go. Okay, he's kind of got it. All right, we got the counter. Okay, we got all the story narratives here. There we go.
being addressed, right? By people who are members of those communities, and I think that's an important thing to do. And I think that like explicitly like co-hosts engaging with people, especially like me going on their platform, is a very effective way for promoting that. So that's something that I would argue is like something that I need to do more.
Okay. And another thing that threw me off, back to the tour topic, is I don't really know how she plays into this, but there was a creator, her name is Sam. And
Okay.
everybody was arguing with her. And from my perspective, when I was listening to her, I felt like her points were valid because when she was talking, she seemed like she was one of the creators that was trying to inform everyone, specifically the Johnny creator, about the racist actions that the woman who was hosting the tour, she was trying to inform Johnny on it.
Okay.
In a live stream, and he kind of microaggressively dismissed her.
What? There were
And-
more microaggressions?
And so then later on, Dean has a stream, and it has Johnny and Sam. Sorry for the pronouns. They.
Ooh.
And they were talking to Johnny, and it was just, I don't know, Johnny was just very like victim mindset. There wasn't a lot of accountability, and it just seemed like,
Gross.
once again, like someone who was Black American was being villainized. Sam, they were being very villainized throughout that whole live stream. I don't know, that just kind of confused me. I didn't like how they tried to put this narrative on Sam like they were just some raging person. I don't know, but at the same time, I don't understand the full situation. But from what I just seen, I don't know. But like I said, I don't know the full situation. Like some people, the comments are very split. Some people are like, I don't know, the comments are split. I don't really know the full situation, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like any microaggressions that Johnny would engage in, I think he should be held accountable for, and that should be addressed. And there were plenty of valid concerns brought up by Sam that I have heard specifically that I think need to be addressed. And a lot of people that I've brought up, very valid concerns that people have brought up. So
Yeah, true. This is basically a microaggression festival. That's what it feels like was basically going on. Are the white creators going to address this?
I typically think it's important in these contexts to again, like especially as white creators, to listen, right? To stop, to listen, to educate ourselves. So I think that's a really important thing that I would stress as to why like I think other creators, especially those that are around me, should be doing as well, and something that I would like to address with them as well, right? So that they know to like address.
Okay, meme break. What is this? Whew, this guy's about to be real mad. I can tell.
Two white people are
Oh no.
Two white people are about to rehabilitate a racist white woman's image by throwing a bunch of black women under the bus and writing them off as crazy leftists.
These are not people that even believe in the electoral process. Like they've said that. Like one of the girls on this live said, because another person had joined and said like, hey, don't you think that this is like not helping us electorally? Like maybe we should like think about that. And she said, the Democratic Party, I don't want them to fucking win anyway.
There are some other pretty astonishing things that happen.
Astonishing.
In this video. Throwing Dean under the bus entirely is pretty funny. But I can't get over that. I mean, this is so racist. So incredibly racist.
So racist.
I've seen the live.
It's insane.
If someone did say that, it was not a part of the conversation. The thrust of things was not F the Democratic Party. The thrust of things was, Z, why are you being such a racist?
True.
I am not quick to excuse crazy leftist behavior, so you know when I say this, that was not a room full of crazy leftists. And who let her go on and be racist like this, it's destiny.
Oh
of course.
God. Of course.
Now I fully recognize that it's a little bit embarrassing for me to like know who this is, to know who, you know, Ethan Klein is, et cetera, et cetera. I stopped watching television a couple of years ago. I like basically never watch television. I find interesting stuff to watch on YouTube. And when you do that, you just get exposed to these people.
I guys make excuses for even knowing who I am.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I try my best not to engage with this kind of content, but I do know a little bit about that whole world. And the fact that she is going on a program with him right now is
yikes. Major
really
yikes.
something.
Really says a lot. Okay, sorry.
It's those things.
Okay. Yeah, that's all. I just had questions on the tour thing. Am I only, like, literally, I feel like the way you're handling this is perfect.
Yeah.
I personally don't have, like, any critique, like, with the way the tour thing is being handled on your end or anything. My only feedback was just the whole, like, maybe covering some more things that are happening in Black America
community.
with what's happening, you know, because I do see, like, oh, everybody's constantly talking about it who's Black, but then, like, you guys don't cover it. And I'm like, what? Like, how could they not talk about this?
Yeah.
So that's, like, that's my main feedback. That's the only thing. I appreciate you for letting me come up here. When I sent my comments in there, I did not think you were going to pull me up here. So I was so nervous. So thank you for letting me speak up here. And please keep up the hard work that you're doing. Yeah.
I appreciate you. I do just want to, I do think that like there was something wrong with the way that I responded. I think that I should have forced accountability like before the tour. I think that I should have got them to address this publicly before the tour. And I think that's something that needs to be important to be addressed. That like that's something that I should have done. And I also think that your concerns with like especially like with me addressing things that negatively impact the Black community to a greater extent is extremely important for me to address on my live. So I think that's I think that was a really important thing to bring up.
Thank you. And thank you guys in the comments. You guys are very sweet. Okay, I'll get off here so other people can speak their opinions.
Appreciate you coming up. Alrighty, everyone. Let me go up to the next person real quick, everyone. Let me go to the next person real quick. Let me see. Yo, what's up?
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I did not expect you to accept my request, but I joined a little late, so I did not see everything that the lovely lady before me said. There were a couple things that I think maybe she wasn't aware of based on, again, what I saw her speak about. But before I get into that, I just want to say, like, I really like your response to the situation. Like, I can tell you're sitting here listening to what she had to say, and it seems like you're apologetic for whatever things that people had an issue with. And my issue with the whole situation, I did see the clips of Z speaking to the women in that live. And I was very happy with the way that Peyton addressed the situation so quickly. I did see people say that he was misinformed on some topics. And I saw a clip of Dean's live and a lady named Mermaid, I'm not sure her actual name, but she was saying that her issue was that Peyton didn't come and speak to the people actually involved in the Black people, the Black creators involved in the tour. But from what I saw, and I saw some text messages between someone named Tashika, who was in the live, and Peyton, where she sent him the live and said, this is...
I would give him $1 trillion if he would have said real quick, hold on, just checking, because you mentioned talking to Black. Was Tashika, was that a Black person?
Something that I experienced and sent him the clip, and then he went on to make the video. And I just felt like a lot of people were upset with Peyton, and I wasn't really understanding why, because from my perspective, he saw something that he thought was unacceptable. And I agree, if you are the organizer for an event, you shouldn't be in somebody's live calling them you people, saying you're bullying me, saying you guys are going crazy on me, saying if you knew anything about organizing, you would know this. I thought it was very weird coming from her and
True.
somebody that's supposed to be
An
uplifting
organizer.
our community. It kind of just seems like she wanted to suppress Black voices, and I don't think you can have a progressive movement if you're not uplifting everyone.
True.
It kind of seemed like,
Especially
oh, well,
Black
you don't know what
voices.
you're talking about. You aren't involved in organizing. And mind you, she doesn't know these women. These women could be organizers in their community. They could have roles in
They're
other movements. So to hear Z speak to them like that, it was like very concerning. And then seeing the way that people involved in the tour responded was also crazy. Like the way they called him and said, we're gonna report the rental car stolen if you don't have it back in time, kicking him off the tour. I'm just like,
Why would they
none
kick
of this
him off
needed
the
to happen.
tour?
If the only response I think that
Just
should have
for
been from
trying to
Payne's video
destroy
was,
it.
this is unacceptable. We're so sorry for her behavior. We're going to incorporate this feedback and moving forward, we will have
How did
procedures
this
in place
shit
to make
grow
sure
so
people who are organizers
fast?
are not in spaces where they are disrespecting people that are part of the movement. Because I honestly feel like that took away so much momentum from the actual movement. Like on my For You page, I haven't seen any videos from the actual tour. The only thing I've seen is
crazy,
like
huh?
controversy.
Huh.
So I actually would like to hear a little bit about
She's
how
so
the
close
event
to
went
getting it.
because I haven't seen anything about it. But yeah, I'm sorry for talking so long, but that was kind of my thoughts on the situation.
Yeah. I definitely denounced the response from National Ground Game. I think that response was not effective. I think it wasn't good. And I, especially looking on hindsight, I think that they should have addressed that significantly better. I think it was unprofessional the way that they responded to this, especially even going on the panel in the first place from Z's perspective. I think she engaged in racist microaggressions. I think that's like really important for us to acknowledge. And especially like when Z was saying that, like some of the women on that panel, at least to my knowledge, did have organizational experience, right? So like that's like it's so insane to me, right? Looking back on it, I think that those are insane. And to touch onto specifically stuff with like what we were doing on the tour. So there was plenty of things that happened on the tour that limited us from operating in the original way that it was supposed to, like on the ground. But it involved like us speaking to people that came there for the event, talking to like Charlie Kirk supporters and debating them, spreading education, right? Those were like types of the things that we engaged in. There were plenty of clips that surrounded after of like us debating, us like spreading education. Some really important voices speaking on the campaign. I think were important to like talk about and to like do that type of debate. I think that type of debate is really needed. That type of conversation is very needed, especially from like an entire group
from
of,
white people,
like,
though.
left-wing creators. I think that's an important thing that we haven't had historically speaking. And I like the idea of everything, but the National Ground Game, the people involved with organizing it, definitely 100% right. Were unprofessional. Absolutely engaged in racist microaggressions towards Black women, especially on that panel.
True.
So I think it's important to.
I kind of want to look this up. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Dean, this is Dean, right? No, it's Parker.
Like these three set conditions that we went to them with. Like Z's got to step down. They got to do something with the $100,000 that was raised, and like there needs to be a public apology and addressing of this from Z, which none of those criteria were met.
Wow.
Which is like I can't even believe it. It's like actually wild that they aren't meeting any of the criteria. So what a lot of me and some of the other creators involved with have responded with is that we want to engage with like with another pack to sort of do the exact same type of movement and have those types of conversations on college campuses to spread education without the involvement of National Ground Game. And also, like we are currently right now trying to get receipts for everything that is happening or that has happened with the money because they are claiming that it was quote unquote spent already, like on this event.
Yeah,
which,
right.
To my understanding, was not how this was supposed to go, and that they had original money that they were spending on this. And that the money that was raised for this was to do future things, you know? Yeah. So I think that money should be used for voter registration, for getting people to vote for progressive ideals. And to me, it sounds really fucking crazy that it's not being used for that right now. So I will let everyone know, like we on the back end really are addressing this and want to like get something effectively done with the money. So that's an important thing.
Thank you.
There are a couple of things I want to ask your opinion on, and you don't have to answer if you don't feel comfortable, but I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments mentioning Dean. And I think it's more so of his response to the situation. Like I said, I did see a clip where he was addressing Peyton and another woman was in the live, I believe a Black woman, and her username was Mermaid something. And to me, it was like so antagonizing. They were making it seem like Peyton was the problem, and I didn't really understand, like, from their perspective, maybe he could have gone about it a different way, waited a little longer, got some more information. But they're trying to make it seem like he was speaking on behalf of people who didn't want to be spoken for, and also saying like, why are you speaking for Black people? But in my opinion, that is something that we would like from white people to use their privilege and their platform to amplify Black voices. And he spoke on it because he was sent the clip from a Black woman. And then another thing, I did hear about that money. That's crazy. I don't know what happened to the money, but it's just things like this that take away from the movement because it's so much controversy when it could have been way more organized.
Who is Peyton? This is the only picture we have of Peyton. I think he's this guy. He's got long, beautiful hair.
organized, and if you take criticism well and incorporate that into the plan, it could have been improved so much. But instead, they kind of take it as a personal attack instead of critique. So on Z's part, I think that's a big issue, and she has a lot to reflect on. I don't know her, so I can't really comment on her, but from what I saw, that was not appropriate behavior, especially from someone who is the lead organizer.
Yeah, true.
And then back to my thing about Dean, yeah, I was very surprised at his response to that, and a lot of people are saying that he's upset because it came out beforehand and he hadn't spoken on it, and this is not my opinion, but that it came out, it made him look bad because he didn't speak on it, and he didn't speak on it because he wanted to check. I don't think that, but
we need some advice. What's the strategy if you're in a situation like this? I mean, if you're like a low-level peon, I mean, you kind of just have to go along with it, I guess, otherwise you're gonna get bullied out of your social group. But I think if you're somebody like Dean or Parker, also, I'm kind of being harsh on them. I'm not like trying to super shit on these guys. I wish that they would take a slightly stronger stance on this. Like, there's no reason why this had to go as crazy as it ended up going. Like, I think they could have taken a better stance on this, but...
Can see where people are coming from with that, because Peyton was saying that he was made aware, like he was sent the clip, so people were just questioning why has it not been spoken on.
Yeah, so at least the way that I would respond to this is that, like, it's very, very important.
Where the fuck is the
these
clip?
things and to call this stuff out. I think that's a very important thing to address. So I think it was important for...
Bro. I'm never gonna find it. It doesn't fucking exist. I just want the clip of it. I have to watch a 30-minute fucking recap of all this? Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. I just want to see what happened. Here.
Useless, slipless, assless, loser ass bitch. Don't ever come here and talk to Black. Shut the f up. You useless, slipless. Shut the f up.
Yeah,
you
we got that.
useless, slipless, assless, loser ass bitch. Don't ever come here and talk to Black people like that again.
How a progressive TikToker is going to resist
Thank you
Trump
for
when
nothing.
They can't even cope with
Show us
a
the clip.
microaggression without him. And, well, it did not go well for Z. Take a listen to this first clip.
You know what? Perfect. Z. She's actually going to be running the campaign, so I would love to hear from her. Or is she her, right, Z?
Yeah, that's correct. No, I mean, I appreciate, pushback in any respect. Obviously I'm an organizer. I'm used to that. I think that having conversations where we say things like, this is so unorganized, which came out of multiple people's mouths, things like that, are directly harming the people of color that are behind this tour, that are working tirelessly to make this happen. And I'm just telling you guys that because I know that you don't know, okay? But the majority of the people behind this tour that are staying up late, working on this, because this is not easy. You think that getting 50 plus people to another state to do this is easy? Because it's not, right? And so we have young people that are putting everything into this, that are scared of this administration, and then people are saying that they're unorganized.
There's no. So as somebody who's done organizing within her own community, that's why I'm saying this.
So the she, her, right? Your pronouns thing at the beginning is just such a nice touch.
True, actually, but
take a
I don't
listen.
care.
Oh, okay, so...
What's this
Is
one?
where things really struggle session with all these Black content creators, plus Z is where things really start to become unhinged. Take a listen.
Oh, okay, so are we not able to critique when things are done in bad faith? When it's by another person of color?
Why are you assuming that they're done in bad faith?
I mean as if they are done in a myopic way, they can lead to significant harm. It can lead to a net negative of the overall leftist movement, which I don't believe that most people are.
How is this a net negative? Explain.
Right.
Yeah, please,
so
explain that.
Right, in terms of a leftist movement, I think from bare bones, having two white men as a forefront is always going to be a net negative. No movement has ever helped by having white people at the front. I'm going to tell you that right now. And that's not even because. Why are you talking over me?
Ooh, she talked over her.
I think a lot of the issues that a lot of YT people have when they hold to particular progressive standards is that in order to get other white people to listen, they need to have white people at the forefront. But I think the second you capitulate to any form of racism or bias, you have already lost this, right? So despite the fact that people are working really hard to get all this up and moving, no, I would actually make the argument that it still causes some significant harm. So I don't know why you.
That just sounds so crazy that because you're working with white people, it's already a tainted project. What the fuck?
Causes some significant harm. So I don't know why you have an issue with me, because I don't know who you are. But it seems like you already have a particular bias going on here.
Wow. So remember, guys, the takeaway from this conversation later is going to be that Z was a racist to the black women, but
for people of color, for houseless people, houseless youth, just the youth, about me not knowing anything about organization. As somebody who's like done exactly what you're doing, I'm telling you right now, it's incredibly disorganized. Maybe it's a short time period, and that's the reason why. But you're shit at your job. You want to come up here and you want to wank yourself off to the work that black people, marginalized people are doing. But then at the same time, you won't even put them at the front line of your bullshit ass website. Shut the up. You useless ass, lipless ass, assless,
oh my God.
Bitch. Don't ever come here and talk to black people like that again.
Anyway, so I'm just going to talk about why we're doing the tour, since none of y'all know how to have a proper conversation. The whole purpose of following Charlie on this specific tour is because Charlie's been doing this for 15 years with zero pushback from the Democratic Party. He goes to these college campuses, he goes into these frats, he infiltrates them through Turning Point USA, and that's why we've seen a massive increase in Gen Z, specifically young white male Gen Z voters. So we figured who would be the best people to speak to those voters, and we picked Parker and Dean for that specific reason, because if we're trying to go after white young boy voters, we should go after them with young white boys, right? That makes sense.
So, if anything, I give Z credit because she was just like viciously insulted and attacked.
Actually, okay, we're not listening to this guy, right? Not funny, bro. I don't know if I just wanted to hear some of the clips. I guess that didn't really help at all. These people just sound like crazy. Whatever.
Around for a second, but it's a good thing that you're actually talking about this now. A couple of things to begin with, and I'm going to kind of hit a couple of points before I finally address what needs to be addressed. I really need people to hop off of Peyton real quick. And the only reason I say this is, yes, it's a good thing that he called out the racism. Cool. But one thing y'all failed to realize was he microaggressed Mermaid and Simple within Dean's life. Now,
he didn't even get to be the white savior. Oh, no. Even he wasn't good enough. Ooh. Okay, Queen, let's hear it.
Begin with, I was watching the entire interaction from beginning to end with Payne going on the panel and him leaving. Prior to the live that he joined, yes, he stood up for people that needed, somebody to speak up. He stood up for Alina when Dan did the whole 7+ hour live on her. He stood up for numerous other people as well. Now the problem I'm having, why was I kicked off of the tour? Now it was giving very much self-serving. His energy was completely off from the whole entire time that he has been saying something about it, right? Now, the only reason I'm saying people really need to hop off him is because y'all failed to realize Peyton himself is white. I don't know why we're sitting here.
Oh, they didn't even know. You think Peyton knew? Oh my God. Damn.
Stop.
God. Okay, let's go.
Please.
That he has been saying something about it, right? Now, the only reason I'm saying people really need to hop off him is because y'all failed to realize Peyton himself is white. I don't know why we're sitting here and we're actually idolizing a white man for doing something that a couple of other people did as well. Peyton was not the only one that called. There's not just there. It wasn't just him, referring to Mermaid as obtuse or calling Simple pissed off. When all they did was say, "Hey, one thing we don't really like about what you did was the fact that you did not talk to, or you didn't even try to reach out to, all of the other black people that were affected and involved with the tour because it still negatively impacted us to begin with." That's all they were trying to say, and he very much clacked back at them with nasty ass energy, which is something that a lot of y'all are failing to realize. So him himself microaggressed people. It's not about disagreement. That's just that, right? So with you, Parker, I don't really have that much to say, just because, like I said, you were more of the quiet life happened, but I didn't really hear you speak, and I feel like that was you were kind of there like as a emotional support, but it was still like a
I don't even know how to kind of put it into words, but I do think that you yourself
tried.
could have been a little bit more vocal prior to today. But like I said, it is a good thing that you are being more vocal as of right now. And with that being said, I would say the last thing is to address a couple of things. Like I said, some of y'all in the comments, I know a lot of y'all do not like Tashika, but at the same time, that does not justify any of the racism that is being directed towards anybody that is black and involved. So I really need y'all to get it together quickly, because it does not matter. I do not care. Just because I don't like somebody does not mean I'm going to let any type of racism, any type of colorism, any type of anti-blackness, fat phobia, or anything even be directed at a singular person, because y'all would be perpetuating white supremacy at the end of the day, period. So I don't care if y'all don't like Tashika. There's some things I disagree with Tashika about, but that does not mean that
you can microaggress on her.
Period.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's important to acknowledge as well.
Queen. True.
Yeah,
Yes.
For specifically addressing like me not coming out and talking about things right away, and in terms of the role I played on the live. To be totally honest, I thought I didn't add much to that live. I thought it would make most sense to have other people speak on that live, as I thought their voices would make most sense to be heard in that particular moment. And the reason why it's taken me like a few days since then to be able to address things is because I've had plenty of anxiety. I've been reflecting upon my behaviors, and thinking about like how best I should address this and talk about this, because I think that's an important thing to do. And that's at least like where I'm coming from in terms of like the motivations, for these particular types of actions, for me taking a while. And I definitely think that I should have addressed things quicker, earlier. And I think that's important to do.
True.
I mean, especially I just want to clarify for people the very first time, before the tour, I think I should have forced accountability on behalf of Z. I think I should have forced them to publicly address things, right? Instead of believing that it would have been addressed, right, in the end, or believing I need to be more upfront with forcing people to do that type of thing, rather than just assuming a good nature in someone, especially someone who's engaged in microaggressive and racist actions just recently. Yeah.
I feel like that would be my last thing, is if we are, because one thing about me is I listen to my elders. I'm a black woman at the end of the day. My elders told me to sit the hell down, so I'm gonna sit the hell down, and I'm gonna still move in silence. I'm gonna still do my activism at the end of the day, but I'm not gonna be doing it as loud as we used to. And what you guys are doing, as you guys should, because one thing is I have followed, not you, but I follow some of the shit that you and Dean have done for years. You guys do good shit, and you guys have progressed a lot, and you guys have changed a lot in a long period of time. And I would say if we're going to be following specifically white people that are organizing certain events, I would just say vet them properly. Have conversations with them about certain subjects. See how they react to certain things. See how they react to certain people, just so you can get the gist of where they are and whether or not they are quote unquote nice or quote unquote kind, right? Because we know there's a difference between nice and kind. Nice is performative, kind is your actual character and who you are as a person.
True.
So that's where I would say, pay more attention to on that front, and we need to stop. And I know you're white, but I'm just gonna say it because this is why I tell everybody, we gotta stop giving white people the benefit of the doubt.
True.
We really do, because I also have the conversations on my main page as well, where all white people are inherently racist, and that's just because of racism being deeply ingrained within America. Some of y'all don't know that you guys say some racist shit, okay? I will give y'all the benefit of the doubt on that, but after a certain point in time, it's not really something I have the luxury of doing, especially when it comes to the progress of America and how I want us to move forward. And so, with that being said, I think the last thing that I was going to say is I understand the anxiety thing.
But you got to get over it,
blame
dude.
you on that front. I have anxiety. I've called out people who have. I've called out neo-Nazis before on this platform.
Jesus.
Boy,
so
the way my
brave.
hands were shaking. So don't worry. I understand.
I bet she was terrified of calling out Nazis
So
on
don't worry.
TikTok
I
Live.
understand.
Absolutely, I do agree. Like with vetting, and it's something I dropped. I talked about earlier in the live, and I definitely think is a good thing to do. I've had a lot of issues with trust, especially as of recently with people that I've engaged with on TikTok, people that have been around me, and I do think it's an important thing to vet and to ensure that people have those types of opinions prior to engaging or working with them. So I definitely think vetting is super important.
Most definitely, but I said everything I needed to say, so you keep doing what you're doing. Listen to the valid criticisms. If there's, any type of thing whatsoever I would just take from this is listening to the Black voices in question. But, this is more just a learning moment and to become better from this. So you have a good day, or try to at least.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
What do
Let me try to get on to the next person real
hell?
quick. Yo, what's up?
Yo.
Hey, I guess, I'm sorry, can I just one second? Okay.
Oh, I thought this was a white guy for a second, but it's a black person.
Okay.
Thank God.
I guess the thing that I wanted to bring up is, specifically, I kind of feel like there's kind of this toxic, debate bro culture that's allowing issues like this to come up. It kind of feels like I'm not saying you specifically, but like definitely people like in your circle kind of value more like proving people wrong rather than like actually educating the community. And oh, did my account just switch?
No, I don't see anything differently with your account.
I got like a message, so I was just wondering about that. But yeah, I don't know. Like even like the tour itself, it feels like this wouldn't have been an issue if there wasn't this idea like, oh, like we have to do this, we have to, you know, prove people wrong, like kind of dunk on Trump supporters, like things like that.
Yeah.
Rather than actually like having a conversation and like, I don't know. I'm not really good at wording it, but hopefully you can understand what I mean by that.
Yeah. I totally get that critique. I think that's an important critique because a lot of people who are involved with debates can only get involved with debates for that explicit purpose. So I understand especially why people have that perspective of people who do engage in debates, because you can absolutely engage in debates with that explicit intention. Now, for the tour though, I actually I think a great thing that we involved as a part of the tour was that people were just coming up and asking questions. Yeah, there were specific debates, especially with those in which who are MAGA, but I also think it was a space that we could create, especially on college campuses, for like asking questions, right? For talking about like what it means to like be on the left, like what should we be doing, and there were a lot of questions like asked about that. Now, those questions, like for example, those types of clips wouldn't be things that like are going to be vastly spread on social media, if that makes sense. So like it is probably things that people haven't even heard happened at the tour. But I think it's an important aspect of the tour that is like really good on college campuses, is that again there's an educational part of this, and I also think that there can be an educational aspect of debates, right, in terms of debating with people, but it can easily, right, like the culture of debates can shift it so that it's not about educating people and instead it's just about dunking on people. So I totally get the criticism. I think that's definitely like something to bring up, and I think it's important that people who are debating have that in mind so that it's not just I'm just trying to dunk on people. Although I think that, you know, dunking on people serves purposes, right? Like there's a purpose of dunking on MAGA in some circumstances. It just can't be like the only intention you have or the only motivation for what you're doing, because then you're gonna like completely be off track on like what you're supposed to be doing in terms of educating people, in terms of getting a correct message out there, in terms of changing people's typical cultural beliefs towards a more progressive light. Like that's the inevitable goal of all of these different types of debates that has to be like at the back of your mind as a motivation, right, when you're engaging in it, if it was the case that like it was like a debate or you are engaging in that type of behavior. So
true.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right.
Okay.
All right.
What's next?
Yeah, what's up?
I have a question. Do you know about the Canadian Conservatives?
No, I'm actually not very familiar.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering what was your opinion about them.
Oh, for sure. See, this live, for example, is kind of about like the Unfuck America tour and stuff like that. So I feel like this would be a perfect question, maybe for like a different live.
Or get the fuck out.
So I could follow you right now, and you could ask me that question if you'd like.
Yes, please.
For sure. All right, thank you. I appreciate you coming up.
Okay, have a lovely day. Bye.
Damn, shut down.
All right.
Oof. Oof.
Like something else going on in the
Yo, what's up? Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Are you there? Hello?
I'm not gonna hear myself. Wait, hold on, what's going on? Wait, hold on, what's going on?
Wait, hold on, what's going on? Wait, hold on, what's going on?
All right.
Schizo moment.
Do give it a second. Yeah, what's up?
Hey, how are you, Parker?
Doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Hey, man, I don't want to waste your time, man. I know you're a busy individual. I just wanted to let you know, man, that, and could you pass this message on to Dean, too, because I really wanted to tell Dean as well. I watch you guys religiously. I think you guys are amazing young men. Very bright, brilliant. I appreciate what you guys are doing with the situation. I really do. You and Dean. But what I want to ask you is just please don't take your eye off the ball, bro, because you guys are making moves and you guys are making waves, and they want to see this between us arguing and fighting amongst each other. I get what you're doing, but you guys didn't say that. You know, I appreciate, as a black man, I appreciate what you guys are doing, but I'm not saying what you're doing isn't worth it, but I just want to see you guys get back on the horse and do what you guys are actually doing, what you guys are gifted at doing, man. That's all.
Absolutely. I think it's important to like keep the movement on, and that's especially why like a lot of me and the other creators
have to
right,
take
are wanting to and not being involved with Unfuck America Tour or National Ground Game. Still push the message. They'll push the message. Like hold ourselves accountable, and although like some people try to portray it as like us holding ourselves accountable could take away from us because it helps people like Charlie Kirk or people on the right, I think it's like vital and important and necessary to hold us accountable, especially like white creators who are in these types of positions, so that like we actively and meaningfully can have a broader coalition to be able to fight fascists, right? To be able to fight fascism. I don't think that we can just fight fascism without taking accountability. I think accountability is, especially for white creators, a very important aspect of fighting fascism.
True.
Right, and I agree with holding accountability, and I'm all about
I'm
that.
sorry, isn't this just over total bullshit though? Like that just bothers me.
And I'm all about that. Accountability is everything. We can't progress if we don't hold ourselves and everyone else accountable around us. I don't want of this mass amount of people that you have that follow you to pull you down in this hole to where we forget like what the actual goal is. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's important to address. I also think that like when it comes to that, there's also like people that are going to be going towards other creators, which also creates an important thing for other creators, especially those of marginalized communities, to be able to have a greater voice. Those of marginalized communities to be able to have a greater voice. Dean, or can't just be the people that are involved with the tour. All right,
Right.
It needs to be the tour. All right,
Right.
It needs to be.
You're a smart guy, man. I got mad respect for you, bro. I listen to you as much as I can. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm not gonna hold you up anymore. Keep up the good fight, man. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, everyone. For the people in the chat saying that there is lag, I actually don't know what I could do about. Let me do.
Thought that Erica was going to come up here before Isaac. Maybe something. I don't know what happened there.
I didn't see her.
But I definitely want to hear from Erica because I like her.
I had some
Dean is in the comments sitting here saying about who me.
I have some questions.
Oh no, I see Dean. If Dean wants to come, if he can as well. But I'm not. Like I said, I want to hear from people. If you guys want
You can't play it in the background? What the fuck is wrong with this app?
perfectly fine. But
I have some
go ahead,
questions
Stevie.
real quick.
Hello, Jimbo. Do you support Trump?
The Unfuck America Tour organizer is racist.
What?
Who? The organizer for the Unfuck America Tour is racist.
Who?
There was a person on live, I believe their name was like Z or something on TikTok. She was calling a panel full of black women uneducated and aggressive.
Here saying about who me.
I really want to hear from Erica because I like her.
I had some
Dean is in the comments sitting here saying about who me.
I have some questions.
Oh no, I see Dina. If you guys want to speak on it, but
I have some
go ahead,
questions
Stevie.
real quick.
Hello, Jimbo. Do you support Trump?
Pivot off of their argument. I love the tour.
My DMs over on Instagram.
What? Can I just see the fucking clip?
To speak because I want to hear from Ice and Tabby. Like, come on! I know you said he only had a few minutes up here, Z,
It
but come
seems
on
like-
now.
it seems like she already-
You have to let people like at least give you push back and speak.
Play the
So I
clip.
don't mind that. So
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but like,
Not
it seems like she. Oh, sorry. It seems like she already doesn't like
No,
me.
that's
but...
what Z said.
Oh,
no,
oh,
that's what I'm
sorry.
saying. That I was responding to what. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't. You're doing this thing where you're like, I don't know if it's like some kind of a tokenization of the, like black and brown people who may be working around you, but yeah, I don't see if you. I don't know if you think that like us critiquing it like dilutes their work. None of us are saying that like this is bad work, right? I think the ability to organize is always going to be an amazing skill to have. I didn't think I would have to explain that, but this can be a huge problem. I think a lot of the issues that a lot of YT people have when they hold to particular progressive standards is that in order to get other white
How the
people to listen, they
fuck
need
are you supposed to tell who's talking on this?
to have white people at the forefront. But I think the second you capitulate to any form of racism or bias, you have already lost this, right? So despite the fact that people are working really hard to get all this up and moving, no, I would actually make the argument that it still causes some significant harm. So I don't know why you have an issue with me, because I don't know who you are. But it seems like you already have a particular bias going on here. So I would like you to, if you do have a bias, I would like for you to tell me that. But I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why you tokenize the black and brown people that work with you as if that makes other black people unable to critique them.
I also want to note
never
as
said
well.
that I wasn't open to critique. That's what I'm not understanding the tokenization
your response
part.
was
but
that.
Julie, the reason why was because the first time I ever saw you was you yelling at Hannah. So I assumed.
So
that
wait
you
a minute,
already
do you
had
not
a
know
big
the
problem.
context for that?
Dang it, see.
No,
she
she doesn't. She said she had just come in like 10 minutes
Okay,
ago.
so this is
Which
what I
really
mean.
weird.
One second. So this is what I mean. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. What you just described there was like insanely dangerous. Hannah had brought up something extremely traumatic that had happened to me and tried to derail the entire conversation. And obviously I'm going to be a little bit triggered when people try to weaponize like literal violence, racial violence, misogynist violence, sexist violence being used against me. So I'm sure when a black person is yelling, you just hear yelling. But no,
why
what
would you
she
say
had
that?
said, what she had said, what she had said was deeply harmful to me. So the fact that you just see it as me bullying sweet little white Hannah is a problem.
Okay,
That's
well,
a
she's
problem,
not white,
baby.
but-
I also want to know.
Arab
again-
people can be white. It's not a race. Arab is not a race.
Okay, y'all, please. I just also want to. I want to note again, right? So I do think it's really interesting, and you're not the only one doing this. I will say the comments are doing this either. The weird idea that nobody in here has ever done any sort of any kind of organizing or whatever. Why do you
that
think
was a weird
Tabby said what
assumption.
Tabby said? What I said? What I said?
Nobody said that.
You did say that.
You
Wait,
did,
I
though.
said
You
that
made-
nobody has organized anything. That
Yes.
came out of my mouth.
You literally did. I don't know if you forgot, but it was
That was the
something
first
that you
thing you
said.
I said organize. No, what I said specifically, Ice, was that organizing people, 50 people to go out of state, is not an easy job.
Nobody said it
What I
was.
said.
Nobody said it was. But what I'm
Wait,
trying
was
to
that
say.
me? Wait. Was that me saying that nobody
No.
in here
Yes,
has ever
and
organized?
yes, because I specifically.
you're agreeing.
not
Wait,
what I- that's
I
not what
you're
I
agreeing,
meant.
and that's not what
Y'all,
was said.
can I please finish?
She's
So
being
I specifically was.
she's being disingenuous. You started
How is
off
that
by saying
disingenuous?
you started
this-
off by
We've gone through this whole fucking thing and I don't understand.
saying you don't know how hard it is to organize 50 people. That's where you
That's not what I
assume.
said.
I also
That is
specifically
what you
like to
said.
say that
Do
I was
you
one of the
think-
people.
Okay,
I would
I'm
like to
not
say
gonna
that
get
I was
into
one of
this
the people who have
nonsense
been specifically saying that this is severely disorganized, and that's
Okay,
when
well,
you came
you
in
don't
and
know
you
what
said
you're
that.
talking
And-
about.
You know what?
Sorry.
So
No,
this is
how about
exactly my
Sorry.
point.
Sorry.
This is exactly
Sorry.
my point.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Ice.
perfect.
To speak because I want to hear from.
Okay, I still don't really understand what's going on. Whatever.
Chance to go to another group of people. That
We're
is a bit
just
more
watching
information, you
shit
know?
happen. Who
But
the fuck knows?
yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm sure a lot of people are in the queue to talk. But thank you so much for holding the space to ask questions and answering respectfully and taking your time. I truly appreciate it.
That you brought up. I think, for example, for me, I think that something that I could have done that I didn't do that to the degree that I would like is I should have forced them to either take accountability before, or no, take accountability and to drop out first, before we even went in the first place. And that's something that is on me, and I need to take accountability for. So although
Like the only thing I
obviously
understand
people-
from just watching that was so basically people interpreted it as the white lady was saying that like all these black people don't know anything about organizing. That's all that I understood from that. But like I don't even know what the fuck is going on.
Kept people from speaking out. So what's gonna happen with him in terms of him being held
I don't think we know
accountable
anything
for the
about
part
the
that he
Mr.
played?
Jones guy, but
Yeah, I would like for Jones to be held accountable, but right now, actually, I'm not going to be talking about this until like for a little bit, because right now, him and his partner are going through a separation, and out of respect for like his partner, like I'm not going to address that, and I'm going to obviously there's some
Yeah,
stuff
that
coming
makes
out
sense,
soon
of course.
about this, but I just wanted to make my position clear on that, and also I want to protect the privacy of his partner. I think that's very important, very very important. So like that's at least where I'm coming from right now, and why I am not going to say something right now, but stuff has already been said.
what does he not get any slack for going through separation? It's literally just his partner. Really? That's what we're doing? Okay, that seems kind of mean, but whatever.
In terms of his ex-partner, like I think that we should protect the privacy of his ex-partner as of right now.
Completely agree.
As of right now.
Completely agree. Thank you so.
I think that we should protect the privacy of his ex-partner as of right now.
Completely agree.
Jesus.
Thank you so much again.
For sure. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
So brave.
Give me a second, everyone. I'm sorry for the lag, everyone. Do you think that's just TikTok?
Hello. Hey, Parker.
Hello.
Hi.
I guess first I wanted to kind of bring it back around to the whole Johnny situation. I guess what some people don't know is that last night or the night before last, Johnny was pretty much reprimanded by a whole panel of other Black content creators, and Sam was there. Sam was mainly the one who needed an apology given to, and he did that. And it was another creator, I forgot her name, that Johnny had mentioned in one of his lives, and he apologized to her. So he pretty much.
Does anybody know if anything else happened? This is boring. It's just fucking. I feel like I'm literally just making my audience racist.
They weaponized people's blackness to be able to shut him down and just like dog him out a bit. It was a little crazy. Like I watched it and I've seen like, man, I watched them just. She was speaking. It was not speaking. Maybe there was a lag of some sort, but I'm glad that it was all recorded because this was ridiculous. And I hope people can step away and just find some time to say these things because people's mental health is involved. People's like in general, these are real people. So as much as we can find forgiveness for everybody else in their soul, and regardless, Z said something crazy. I don't think people should completely uninvest in this girl. Maybe she said something terrible, but I don't think it's something to the extent that she needs to be like, she could be coached. Someone needs to be on her team telling her what's going on because the truth
like,
is that's what these parties look like. This is what it looks like.
Wait, you know what? I don't know. Hold on. Maybe she's using crazy language, but this person sounds like they're actually a little bit better than the others. Hold on.
Didn't go about like talking to the black creators that the black creators felt like was messed up. So that's at least what I've seen from this. So that's at least what I've seen from this. But yeah, I want to be able to so you can respond.
No, like I feel like you addressed a lot, and it's very easy to just pass a lot of judgment on someone who's just in your face, and all the time we're looking for someone to be upset with. But regardless, it's not about him speaking to other people because I don't want it to go as misinformation because someone said that was their truth. So true or not true, that's something to divulge into, but it was really easy for him. But it was really easy for him to set with because people got like a lot of people's pasts were brought up. A lot of things were just kind of called into questions, people's advocacy. So it's really not a sense of, I don't know. I feel like it could have just been handled with care. Like automatically, it was just like whatever. Like you wanted to go on your own. It is what it is. But I mean, he's just a guy. He's a person. Also, is sharing his opinion. He's a person growing as well. I don't understand. Like I watched the live with Mermaid and Simple Black Theory, and all they did was yell at. And Simple Black Theory, and all they did was yell at him. And Johnny just stopping people. Like it brought out so many things that were so loud. Johnny just shutting everything down. I have never heard of this man before, and to hear him for the first time and be introduced to him, to him through this way was like, bruh, what is going on? And then on top of the fact, just to watch the interaction of them all be like, they shouted over him, and then they weaponized people's blackness to be able to shut him down and just dog him out a bit. It was a little crazy. Like I watched it and I've seen man, I watched them she was speaking. It was not speaking. Maybe there was a lag of some sort, but I'm glad that it was all recorded because this was ridiculous. And I hope people can step away and just find some time to say these things because people's mental health is involved. People's in general, these are real people. So as much as we can find forgiveness for everybody else in their soul, and regardless, Z said something crazy. I don't think people should completely uninvest in this girl. Maybe she said something terrible, but I don't think it's something to the extent that she needs to be like, she could be coached. Someone needs to be on her team telling her what's going on because the truth is that's what these parties look like. This is what it looks like on both sides. Like I've been organizing, I've been politically active, and this is just what it looks like. And I don't think it's right to say that she didn't do wrong, but to give her any kind of leeway to make any kind of, I don't know. I just feel like there should have been some path to redemption on all fronts. It could have just been handled a lot better.
Yeah, true.
But I yield.
Yeah, so my thoughts are that I think that in order for there to be like a genuine sense of like progression for someone, there needs to be accountability for that person. And if someone can't take accountability for like the
here is one word that I hate. Maybe from personal experience. This accountability word is actually so fucking cancerous and toxic. You can't, if you say accountability, it doesn't mean anything unless you're willing to give an example of what accountability is. Because people do this thing where they'll say over and over again, accountability. Like, what do you mean by take accountability? Do you mean like she should have completely and totally dropped out of everything forever? Or do you mean that she should have, like, I don't know, like what, like, I don't know, have they given any example of what accountability means? Because it's not like the only option is just for her to quit everything. Like, that's it. That's all she can do. And it's like, what's the point here? I don't know.
Actions that they've engaged in, it's really hard for me to see that they're going to progress. So like, I mean, especially if like the entirety of the creators are like trying to get them to like apologize and address things publicly, and they aren't going to do that.
Yeah, but apologizing and addressing things publicly was clearly never enough.
There is a path for people to redeem themselves. It's just that if they don't take accountability, it's like impossible for them to redeem themselves because accountability is a part of the process for redeeming. At least that's the way that I see it. And then I also do just want to address one thing. To my knowledge, everyone had their trip paid for except for Pickles. Pickles, he didn't have it, and he had like a supporter take care of it. So he's the only person I know, and when I found that out, I was still like, that's crazy. Like everyone's flight should have been taken care of, everyone's hotel should have been taken care of, like across the board. And then I do know with some other people that it was like they got reimbursed for things. So they got reimbursed for things. So like, yeah, the only person to my knowledge that that didn't have that paid for was Pickles.
Completely understood. Only thing I can say is she probably needs a bit more experience. Like she said, it was hard organizing people of this number. 50 is a pretty small number, but regardless, I think it's something we could.
I am so sorry. This woman has been based so far, but this woman has never managed anybody in her life. If she's saying 50 is a small number of individual talent, if she was somebody that could manage people at that level, I would know who she is. Everybody would know who she is. That's just managing individual talent like this is always a clusterfuck. But whatever. Unless she just doesn't know, and maybe she just thinks it was just like 50 random canvassers that showed up or something, but...
It just all learn from, and I hate that everybody was just kind of the poster child for whatever situation they were just kind of like reacting to.
Yeah, and that's something that we would take into account, especially when looking for like a different pack, is one that like a pack that has a lot more professionalism, has more infrastructure, would be better at planning.
There they are. Fuck. Misspelled.
But we'll see.
That's definitely something that we needed that before, and like again, that goes into my process, and this isn't going to just extend to like business partners or whatever we want to call it. I don't even know if this would, I guess business partners. It would apply to like my friends in the future. Like I need to be like vetting people, who are my friends. I need to be vetting everyone in general, and like I think that's the nature of like social media and being in front of people. That like I didn't know and do. Like I should have known about this. I should have been engaging with vetting people before this, and I'm treating it too much like I'm a
how would you have vetted her? What was so obvious?
I need to address it because like
that this person was such a horrible human being.
Lives and people are seeing these types of things. So I think it's important in the process of even me having friends to to vet that and to address before. I know it's impossible to. You're okay. Don't worry. I know it's impossible to predict people's behavior to a certain degree, but like it's important to vet because like I feel like if there's a vetting process, it still minimizes the likelihood that that's going to happen if there's some type of vetting process. So that's something that I think I need to address is vetting and being not as quick to trust people within the political space. I think a lot of people in the political space, like especially those behind the scenes, like are probably like and whether it be management or other stuff like that, probably like not as trustworthy. Like on the backside electoral side of the political process, because like in order to be involved in politics, a lot of the times it requires electoral side of it and like getting engaged with the government side of it. In order for people to get in those positions, they oftentimes will have to engage in behaviors like that, which is like crazy, and like that's the horrible nature of politics.
Is this live right now?
I didn't think was applicable to like the social
Parker's
and so that's something I'm definitely
like stream
having to acknowledge.
My God.
Thank you so much. For sure. Be safe. For sure. Be safe. I wish y'all literally all the best.
Oh my God. Was that an AI black woman controlled by a white programmer? Wait, what was going on there?
Alrighty. Alright, everyone. I think tonight. At least. Jesus. I don't want to do debates right now. I think it's important for me to like continue to reflect on everything. I think that's an important thing to do.
True.
So I'm specifically not gonna get into debates right away. And I know people are like, oh, that's like I typically do daily stuff. So like yeah, like that's gonna be like a few days off for me at least. So I'm just trying to inform people who are expecting like daily debates and stuff like that. Alrighty, I'm gonna get the last person up here. I'm gonna get Kay up here. Hey, what's up, Kay?
Okay, I might be lagging a little bit. If you hear like a little static, my apartment under maintenance right now. Okay, so I got 4 points that I was just gonna bring up, and I'm gonna just go down the list because I was taking them while I was in live. So first, I want to explain like microaggressions, because I think what people don't understand is that microaggressions are not necessarily blatant racism. It's not overt racism. So like when people are speaking about y'all in particular, or the chat in particular, and speaking about microaggressions, they're thinking, oh, it's them, y'all saying the N-word, or it has to be y'all like blatantly being like, oh, I don't like black people's hair. When that's
I feel like that'd be a mega aggression, but okay.
Mega aggression.
Microaggressions are just things that are kind of like stereotypes or subtle racism. So like, let's say you're sitting in your car and you see a black man walking by your car and you lock your door. That's a microaggression. Even though you're not blatantly saying I'm scared of black people, it's something that is subconscious in your mind that you do, not necessarily with a bad intention, but you are doing it. And so things like, which was discussed earlier, things like speaking about black people's hair, hiding behind black people's hair, there was something else that was brought up, I forgot because I didn't get to write it down. Those are forms of microaggressions because those are stereotypes. Those are things that are very sensitive to black people. Black people are often made fun of because of their hair. So if you do anything revolving around their hair in a negative manner, that is a microaggression. Oh, that's what it was. Calling black women aggressive. A lot of black women are seen as aggressive with just their tone of voice. I could be talking like this and I've been called aggressive on this platform in that chat. And that is a microaggression. You can say, oh, she was being aggressive, but in the same manner, they would not do the same thing to you if you raise your voice. Like when you raise your voice, ain't nobody finna say, oh yeah, Parker being aggressive, even if you are, up on that octave. Thank y'all, by the way. And then when it comes to the chat, I think for me personally, I would say for you, I'm going to speak on you. It mostly is your chat when it comes to the microaggression, when it comes to the racism, because I will say your chat is catered to who you are as a person. People who come up on and follow you are catered to you as a person. And with you being a white female, you're going to get more white males, more white people who follow your platform, who are engaging in your platform. And when we understand the dynamic of society and how systemic racism plays a major role in how people view things, I think that's why your chat can get very microaggressive very quickly, because a lot of white people have not dismantled their racism. They have not came over that, even if they are more on.
Have you guys dismantled your racism?
Because I don't know if I can say the actual word on in the live. I might say be on, because a lot of white people have not dismantled their racism. They have not came over that, even if they are more on. I'm saying white tea because I don't know if I can say the actual word on in the live. I might say be okay too. I'm not being.
Wait, white tea? Because she gets to the actual word. Wait, what is the actual word? What?
Racist in the chin chat, but that's why.
White tea. YT for whitey? Oh, okay.
You can't say white people.
When it comes to when black women get on a panel or black people get on a panel, when we're talking about topics like this, it can get a little microaggressive.
What
it can get
the
a little
fuck?
racist. It can become an issue
So
because a lot of white people do not understand racism.
Instead?
They have not fully get their research on how
Is
racism
that true?
looks
I don't even know.
more in depth. We know, oh yeah, you're racist if you're discriminatory, but a lot of people who are white liberals don't have to do that extra research, so they never do. And I think that's why the chat can get a lot toxic. And my solution for that, because I'm going to give you a solution. My solution for that, honestly, just making sure it's more black moderators who can moderate the chat more frequently, and maybe having like a shift type thing. So like your moderators have their own little group chat where hey,
DEI mods. I'm sorry.
Going live at 8, who can shift from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, That way it can keep the chat more well-rounded. And you can also get rid of the issue where people be bots and, you know, they be having their issues in the chat. Because I remember when we used to do that, it would be a little more organized in that manner, because it can be a little more regulated.
True.
And also just making sure, like, even if we don't see one comment or so, if we know someone who is a person of color is on chat, or if we honestly, even if we see somebody who has some form of disability or who's coming on the panel, we just have a little closer eye on the chat, because it doesn't happen frequently with like most of your guests.
She's saying white C for white cisgender because she doesn't know if she can say cisgender. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay.
What, did trans people or whatever get drafted into the black BIPOC stuff? What the fuck?
Bots with other of your guests, but when it comes to, like, I've noticed black women, black men, people who have some form of like speech impediment, when it comes to those individuals, that's when the chat can get a little tricky. And so when those things are happening, we just making sure we're more regulated on that, so that way it can, you know, it won't necessarily be a problem. And I feel like it will also open your platform to a lot of different people, because when it comes to your chat, the community can be unwelcoming, and that can harm you. It can give that impression on you. And I think that's also what I've seen with the other people on the panel. When they were speaking on like, oh, Dean did this and the chat always doing this, it becomes a reflection of you, not necessarily because you are doing it, but because that's what your community is surrounded upon.
Ooh.
So that can make it look like, or it can give the impression that, oh, if his chat's being microaggressive, who's to say that he's not?
True.
And I think that would help with that as well. And then with I can't remember who it was who came on the panel, but they were speaking about inherent racism. When people say that, they're not necessarily saying that people are born racist. They're saying that because of the society we live in, racism is embedded in the society. Colorism is embedded in the society. Ableism is embedded in the society. So anytime certain things or certain demographics do not apply to you, we are socially conditioned to think a certain way. That's what's presented to us from a very young age up until we're older. And it can affect how we think, even subconsciously. So, like, for example, I can hold myself accountable, and I can say that I was not the best person to be speaking about like fat phobia. I didn't fully understand that when I was younger. I was a little fat phobic, I'm not gonna lie. But once I got older and actually understood, oh, that is not something that is good, you can change that. It doesn't mean that you will always be racist. It doesn't mean that you will always be ableist. It just means that this was ingrained in your society, and you have to educate yourself and actively.
I'm sorry.
What's happening in the background?
My bad.
It means that
That's
this was ingrained
hilarious.
in your society, and you have to educate yourself and actively dismiss those things that were going on.
Bro, shut up.
This has to be a fucking troll. I don't believe this. This has to be a troll. What is this can't be real right now.
Anybody, if y'all have any questions, y'all can DM me. I reply to my DMs, even if it goes to the request, I go through it and reply. And yeah, also for somebody in the comments that said they took psych. Psych is a very good thing to help you enlighten yourself. I'm a psychology major. I'm finna graduate. Sister finna graduate.
Okay.
Sister finna go to med school. But yeah, and med school. But yeah, and it surrounds you. And I feel like you can fix. I feel like that's something that can be changed, and that's something that you can grow from.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I just want to say how amazing it is to see you. Think way back, like from the beginning of TikTok days. Seriously, like, I love you so much. I just want to say I appreciate you. I'm glad to see you here, and like seriously, no one could have worded better. Like actually, that was incredible. I really appreciate that. Seriously, and like that was like literally the best way to end my live, especially to clarify like all the things that were brought up on the live that like people brought up kind of in a way that maybe people misunderstand. Like a lot of people misunderstand like what people mean when they say that like white people are inherently racist. And what I tell people is like, stop, listen for a second. I know it sounds like originally, like when you first think about it, you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like such a wild, insane take. It's not.
It's real.
Insane take. It's not.
Based racism.
Insane take. It's not. I'm not talking like people have this idea that inherent means like you're born with, like what you were bringing up. So like that is definitely like definitely something I really appreciate you explaining, especially to the chat, and especially like it gives me the idea that these are things that need to be talked about more like and explained to the chat on a continual basis. Because if it is the case that the chat doesn't understand this right now, that's probably indicative of the fact that it's not talked enough within the space. So like thank you for coming up and telling me that. And I actually think the ideas of the mods is an incredible thing to do, especially with anyone who's impacted, any marginalized community, right? Especially people who make fun of stutters, right? And although it is difficult to some extent, especially like to limit like everyone, because they only give us like 30 mods or something like that, which is pretty insane. But it's still really important to like be like, oh, what mods are on right now and what mods can't go on right now, and maybe I can shift around the mods so that we have more people who are active right now, and then I can like unmod them and then mod them back again based upon who's going to be there on that day. So I think that's a great idea.
And another thing, what did you just say? Ooh, I just lost it. Give me 1 second. It was repeat the beginning of your sentence actually.
See, I have a really bad memory. I have really bad short-term memory. I'm like, to be totally honest, I elevate all the time. I'm not today, because I just want to make sure I was on everything today. But like my short-term memory is so cooked because
I remember what it was.
Wait, what does that mean?
Okay, so with the like educating your space about racism, what you can do, I would say you can do more not BIPOC, but also Black creators, and what you can do. I know Adina would be good for that. I know I would be good for that. We can collectively have a couple like when you do go back debating, we can have a couple panels. We can have a couple like shared videos in which we can talk about it. That way your space is also more welcoming and more understanding of racism and how that impacts people, ableism and how that impacts people. Because I know
we're very welcoming and understanding racism over here.
We have done that before.
True.
And I think it would be beneficial to what you aim for your platform, because it will not only educate people in what you want to educate, but I feel like it would also help with like internal community issues. Because I know, yes, liberals and Democrats can be very open, but sometimes they can be very closed off because of a misunderstanding and really just because of bias. And that can go a long way because you do have a big platform. I do think that would be something you can accomplish.
True.
Absolutely. And like, let me know, because I definitely have been wanting to like, especially co-host and me joining on to build up other communities, especially algorithms, because TikTok is a huge thing with like algorithms, and it can help like in those types of ways too. So both of those things I think are a great idea. And if you want to message me, let me know, because I'd love to see you on lives again. That would be amazing.
It's kind of crazy because the first time I ever got on your panel, I was a senior in high school, and I'm literally a senior in college now. Like, I'm getting old. I'm starting to realize that, like, oh, my goodness. I'm getting real old. I've been here since the age requirement to go live was like 16. No, it was 13. It was 13. Because I remember I was on that little thing. I was 14. I was waiting to get on that little thing. But it's kind of crazy because, like, life has really changed, like, so much. Like, it's just really just crazy.
Next fucking caller.
It is. What's up?
I can send you resources as well.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I'll make a new document with all the resources so that way you can be informed. And if you want to like start that research, you can. Because I have a lot of tabs on my computer that I need to get rid of.
Thank you.
That would be great because I have a sources document. So if I could add it to the sources document, if you would think that's a great thing, it can be a part of my link tree. So whenever like people, whenever we talk about in the live, be like, yo, look at my sources in my link tree, and that would be like the best thing.
We need that so bad.
Yeah. Okay, I can definitely do that because I got a lot on here. And I need to clear up my computer. I got too much. It's starting to tell me my iCloud's too full.
For sure. Here, I'm going to bring up Jaden as well right now. And then I was going to end it, everyone, here for today. Today. But yeah, let me get Jaden up here real quick. By the way, it's for some reason not allowing him to load in.
It might take a minute. It was doing the same thing to me.
Really? It's TikTok so glitchy.
Like, it was loaded for like 5 seconds, and then it showed me my mute and stuff.
I'm not sure if it's my internet too, because it's like, I mean, our conversation doesn't sound like it's affected, but like my, actually here, my speed test is working now, so. Yeah, TikTok has been horrible recently. It's actually been unusable recently. Jaden, no, we cannot hear you currently. Do you want to send a guest request back? I should be able to add you back if, hopefully TikTok isn't like screwing up right now.
Hopefully.
Alrighty. Give it 1 second, everyone. Jaden's joined back up the guest box. Jaden's joined back up the guest box. That's it.
Okay, I'm bored. YT equals white. I feel like I've seen that, but I feel like when I see people type that, they're always racist black people. Is it wrong for me to say that? Every single time I've seen somebody that types white like that, YT, it's always racist black people. Usually racist black women. I don't know why the black men aren't as involved with that. SJWN, but...
We're probably too busy with other black activities.
What is this? Hold on.
Domestically. So we'll let all these countries buy if they do it correctly, but they got to also invest here to make sure we have the firepower always in America. That's the right thinking. That's the way we're thinking about it at the Department of Commerce.
Interesting, especially since AI is not only an economic issue and a technological issue, but also a national security one, increasingly. Finally, Secretary Lutnick, I have to ask you about the reporting that has broken in the past hour or so that the president is considering raising the tax rate on the highest earners. Are you in favor of that?
I am. You know, if the president's cool with it, I am definitely cool with it.
Stop.
The idea of rolling back the,
Well, if it's cool with him.
discount that he gave. Remember, in 2017, he cut the rate from 39.6 to 37. And if he wants to try to go back to 39.6 and take that money.
It's so crazy that when they talked about these Trump tax cuts, if the Democrats let it expire, they talked about it as a tax increase. But now if Trump lets it expire, he's saying, well, we gave them a tax cut before. Now we're just going to get rid of the tax cut. It's so funny. Jesus Christ, dude.
And redirect
Shameless.
it to no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on social domestically. So we'll let all these countries buy if they do it correctly, but they got to also invest here to make sure we have the firepower always in America. That's the right thinking. That's the way we're thinking about it at the Department of Commerce.
True.
Interesting, especially since AI is not only an economic issue and a technological issue, but also a national security one, increasingly. Finally, Secretary Lutnick, I have to ask you about the reporting that has broken in the past hour or so that the president is considering.
Timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget.
Apparently he was supposed to show with a budget today and he doesn't have one. Oops.
Budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
Well, we also need a full budget request, not a single paragraph full of wild talking points that we saw with the skinny budget proposal. We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request. So, Director Patel, where is the FY 2026 budget request for the FBI?
It's being worked on, ma'am.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not
Well,
going to
how
make up
do
a timeline.
we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm
don't
doing the
care.
best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
That is insufficient and deeply disturbing.
Disturbing.
No response?
I've given my response.
Well,
What do you want me to say? Yeah, it's due. I understand, okay? What am I supposed to say, all right? I didn't do it.
I have a timeline.
Oh my god.
it was due last week by law.
I understand.
Yes, teacher, you got me, okay? I fucked up.
Literally.
Okay? What?
Silence.
Can we watch the whole thing? Was it good? If someone wants to link it, I don't know if the whole thing was good. Link away, baby.
They're probably, all the hate watchers are probably already mass reporting your account for ban evasion at this very moment. It's most likely not bad empanada.
Okay.
Oh, it's Factions SZ. Watch the Sex Pest one.
Based.
Those photos were from a 2013 diplomatic trip to Iran where Iran put them in a fancy hotel for a week. I wonder if this actually is bad.
Why was I like this?
Empanada. Apparently these people think that anything, a majority of Jews... Okay, this might be literally bad empanada. Apparently these people think that anything that a majority of Jews think is fine is fine.
Based.
Jakub shall call your name, Hassan. You will learn the tricknology expert brain rot. This definitely sounds like him, which is a really coherent and solid point, by the way. Ethan, whenever he talks about this, he's like 90% of Jews are Zionists. And it's such a funny take because it's like, okay, so what?
Well, the goal is to show that when you say you're not trying to call out all Jews, you just want to call out the Zionists or whatever. You really are kind of calling out all Jews. That's the point of saying that, but okay. Destiny, he was spamming to bring him on stream if you read the messages. Oh, ouch.
Like, what do you mean? If 100% of Jews were Zionists, I would still be an anti-Zionist. This would not somehow change the equation for me. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, if 100% of Jews are Zionists, I guess it's okay that Israel is ethnically cleansing Palestine. I guess that's fine. You know what I mean?
Epic.
I don't know why he thinks that's a solid own. Wait, it is actually him?
Holy shit. Wait.
Invite me on.
We have a Z nuke that just dropped.
All evidence being used in this video against any person or entity has been backed up by first-hand accounts, second-hand accounts, and screenshots. So you can put your lawyers away. You're not.
Why is it so fucking quiet?
Getting me this time. And with that out of the way, what the fuck happened with the Unfuck America tour? You might be asking, because I've gotten a million DMs about it, because nobody's story is matching up except for mine, and things keep getting weirder. But don't worry, I have all the answers to all of your questions,
He's
and
the
I've broken
only
them
one.
down into 5 categories. Number 1,
Oh my
which
God.
creators are lying? Number 2, where is the money? Number 3, why does this matter? And number 4, how do we continue? All wrapped around this woman.
Z.
Elizabeth Z. Cohen Sanchez. But we'll get to you
Uh-oh.
in a second, Lizzie. First, we're going to talk about these creators because most of the confusion being caused right now is by them blatantly lying. These are the creators we'll be talking about, and I want to start with
I didn't even make the list.
Andra because I want to start with Andra. So this is Andra. You might have seen Andra on your For You page. She's the one that talks like this out of the side of her mouth so that people won't hear her lying all the fucking time. And we're starting with Andra for a very specific reason. I'll get to it in a second. First, let's hear her response video to this entire Z being racist situation.
If you're not familiar with what happened, I'll explain. The National Brown Game PAC started a group called Un-Af America, in which Dean Withers and Parker were headlining, and we were going to go and debate Charlie Kirk on college campuses. I was very excited about this because combating red pill, misinformation, pipeline stuff is very important to me, and that's kind of what the whole thing was about. So I signed on immediately. And then apparently our organizer, Z, joined a panel full of black women and said a lot of microaggressive and racist comments. And that's what it was. Point blank, no excusing it. And I want to be clear, I don't support any of that. What she said was messed up. And the second I found out about it, I voiced my opinion in our group chat strongly. In fact, I started a lot of fights about it. Because if you know me, the last thing I'm going to do is bite my tongue unless I'm literally so sick in bed that I cannot take a phone call.
Okay, she was sick. That's why she couldn't respond. But of course, she hates Z. She hates all of the things that Z did.
But what's that?
Oh, you bald-faced liar, you racist little fuck. You were there during the live, and when Z was on the live, and after Z got off the live. You were on your spam account trolling them. You were saying that black women on that live were miserable, that they were just attacking Z to attack her, that they were just yapping to yap. And later on, you were talking about how you were losing mutuals because you weren't speaking out about this situation. And you most definitely did not immediately get mad at Z and tell her to fuck off and you know what? I'm going to say it, racism's bad. That's not you. That's not what you did. I can say for damn sure there was nowhere in those signal chats that night where you were like, hey Z, that was racist, or hey guys, that wasn't cool. No, and you all heard her. Apparently, our organizer Z hopped on a live with a panel full of black women and said some microaggressive and racist things, and that's what they were. That full stop, period. You do support it. You did. You supported it. You were there supporting her.
The second I found out about it, I voiced my opinion in our group chat strongly.
Well, hey, you were voicing your opinion very strongly. It's just not the opinion you were implying, but still strongly nonetheless.
Because if you know me, the last thing I'm going to do is
They
bite
got
my
her.
tongue unless I'm literally so sick in bed that I cannot take a phone call.
I guess we could see this as biting your tongue, but you were okay with all of it. You didn't care about any of this shit. Now, Andra, I don't want any excuse for you to try and report my video. So, I'm just gonna say, you have some growing to do. I don't think we should be entrusting you with the platform right now. Next up, we have Off Wagon. A lot of you
This
guys...
is the most petty fucking non-drama, non-tent that I've ever seen in my entire life. Holy shit. All right, let's go.
Guys correctly assumed he was the person that sent me these DMs from that previous video. And what was his story again?
I want to be very clear that I and the majority of people who joined this fight did so because we are fighting for equality, whether it's class equality, gender equality, marriage equality, and definitely racial equality. So with allegations of racist comments against an organizer in the group that I was a part of, I had some concerns. I was not present for any of these comments. I did not understand the context of any of these comments, and I got a dozen conflicting stories from a dozen different people because, it's the fucking internet.
So he wasn't present for any of these comments. He got conflicting stories. What's a guy supposed to do?
Oh, no. Jesus Christ, dip that live. It's pointless. There's absolutely no way forward on it that's going to be productive. In a lot of ways, it can go bad. Get out.
That's a pretty distinct name. Okay, Peyton, so he's lying to his audience like the rest of these people are. Who cares? What's the big deal? Well, believe it or not, later on in that video, this dipshit made a crucial error on behalf of himself and all of his creator buddies who are trying to lie to you right now. Let's take a listen and then I'll explain.
Okay. I went and met up in person with a couple of people of color who were involved, a couple of who were present and did understand the context of those comments. And I asked them, where are you at on this and what do you need from me?
Dude, the fucking audio on this.
Support of the mission and the organization, and at this point, that's all. I was like, cool, if you guys are in, I'm in. If you're out, I'm out. Where you guys go, I follow. I am here to support this mission. And that's what I did. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the mission. I'm proud of what they accomplished, and I'm proud of the vast majority of people I got to interact with. And another pasty-ass creator decided to go a different route and make videos exploiting the issue for views and clout. And he did this despite being told by numerous people of color involved that they did not want him doing this, they did not want him speaking for them, and that his actions were making them feel incredibly uncomfortable.
So he obviously didn't catch what he did. A lot of you probably didn't either.
Yeah,
Some
what did he
of you
do?
might have, but I'll break it down.
Okay.
So what he's trying to do here is perpetuate the narrative that I made people of color on the tour feel uncomfortable. But he's doing it differently than some people are. Some people are saying that it was after my second video that I made them uncomfortable. But obviously before my second video is when these messages were shared between him and I. He even said it himself.
I followed that person immediately after realizing that they were willing to exploit marginalized groups for their own gain. And they reached out to me. They was like, dude, I hope we can still be friends. He was trying to defend his actions. And while I was sitting next to two people of color who were involved with the whole thing, who had literally just told me that they were feeling uncomfortable and unsafe because of his actions, and that they were being harassed and having slurs I can't repeat hurled at them online because of his videos, I told him that he needed to stop. That if he really cared about the things that he was pretending to care about, this was not it.
But it seems like he's also trying to say that people of color felt uncomfortable by me before I even made my first video. They were telling me not to do my first video. But that's not the case, and that video wasn't about anyone who was on the tour. So why are they lying about this? It's because they're all following the playbook that Brandon and Z set up. See, after I made my video, they actually deactivated the Signal group chat for a little while, right? None of the influencers were allowed in there. They just had a staff meeting, right? And Brandon's
Was this
telling
TikToker?
everybody, listen,
He was involved with the Unfuck America tour.
I've worked in PR crisis management for 7 years. I've got this. Nobody say anything. Let me handle this. And then he calls me. If you go back, don't even think about Z. Listen to the first half of that phone call, and it seems like I did something wrong that's getting me kicked off the tour. And Z's first message to me after my video was, have you returned the car we paid for? And at first I thought it was like a narcissistic thing, which it is, obviously, because it's Z, but
Obviously.
it makes a lot more
Imagine
sense.
caring about, imagine trying to get back the car that you allowed these people to rent. Like, that's just crazy, bro.
In the context of them acting as if we've already had a conversation and they're kicking me off the tour for my behavior. And just for good measure, here's some of the scripts they came up with for their little plan. So everyone, I would like to extend a thank you to Offjawagon for being dumb enough to do this. These are just miscellaneous pieces of shit. I've never seen their content personally. I just know about their whole interactions with this tour and with this situation, and they are garbage. Hey Dean, I know we've talked before, but you've got a lot of explaining to do. See, I know a secret you've been keeping. You betrayed the creators on this tour and your audience who donated to this tour because you knew about Z a week before that live even happened. Note the time and date of the first message, and here's a screen recording of all of the messages, and you can see that Dean absolutely saw these. He was told that Z doesn't like paying her employees a week before this live even happened, and he didn't tell any of us creators. I was still on the tour, I hadn't been kicked off, didn't hear a goddamn thing about this, Dean. And then come to find out, you were partying with Z at Texas A&M after everything went down. Or when you said you were all torn up after the live, but you really knew that you needed to be there for your fans, you lying bitch. So just to be clear, you knew about her deceptive business practices beforehand and decided not to say anything to your audience who kept donating to the Unfuck America tour, and not to say anything to the creators who were professionally linked to her. But no harm, no foul. It's not like any money went missing, right? Did somebody say money? I know everyone has heard by now that the creators are not getting the money they were promised, and $100,000 seemingly vanished into thin air. But I think I know exactly where it went, right into Zico and Sanchez's pocket. These are screenshots from the FEC's website for the National Ground Game campaign, and you'll notice there's $95,000 sent to a company called Soul Strategies. Well, that seems like a lot of money, Peyton, but why is that so weird? Well, guess who the founder and owner of Soul Strategies is? If you guessed our girl Z, you would be right, except for between 2020 and 2023 when she was pretending it was a black-owned business while giving a black woman only 15% of the company and making her do all of the work while calling her lazy and a piece of shit. So if you're following me here, Zico and Sanchez from the National Ground Game Pack, we know Z, she gave Zico and Sanchez of Soul Strategies, I think you guys know her, $95,000 for voter registration efforts. Me personally, $95,000 is an insane amount of money to spend on voter registration efforts.
Was this just all the staff working the event or whatever that got paid? How many staff were there? How much were they supposed to get paid? Okay.
From a company that was sued for fraudulent voter registration efforts. But I guess when you're the sender and the receiver, you can kind of make up your own rules. I also found money being sent to places like this, with websites like this. Can somebody spell money laundering? And if that wasn't enough for you, I have unequivocal proof of her engaging in illegal activities just this morning. This email was sent this morning to someone who works for Z, who was supposed to be paid on Friday, still hadn't been paid, reached out to them, and they said, you have to sign an NDA to get the pay that you're owed. Hey, that's fucking illegal. That's really fucking illegal. Even if she doesn't go through with this, that's incredibly illegal. You can't tell someone they have to sign an NDA to get the pay they're owed. Cherry on top, obviously she's a flaming fucking racist, and most of us in the know already fucking knew that, but here's her being a piece of shit otherwise. I do know a lot more, but I'm not gonna give you it, obviously, because where's the fun in that? All I can say is, you are fucked. And anybody who helped you, Dean, is fucked as well. You knowingly defrauded the creators on the tour and their audiences who continue donating to the tour. Why does this matter? The rest of this video is going to be free form, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm pretty fucking pissed. Because even if I want to believe that I went about it the wrong way, and that's why you guys treated me the way that you did, why the fuck did you treat these women the way you did? You know, those black women from that live that Z was incredibly racist on, that you guys were ha-ha and laughing about? But even after coming out and saying like, hey, she did behave in a macro-aggressive and racist way in political talk, you still wouldn't let them up on your live. What the fuck? You know, when you're apologizing for how you handled the situation that was directly involving them and the aggression towards them. Really weird you didn't want them up on your live. That's insane. It's almost like none of you guys fucking care about the shit that you claim to care about. And I'm talking about everyone on the tour, but specifically the white creators, the ones that love to fucking virtue signal and be like, and that's something I don't stand for, but I stood for it and I was egging it on. And on that sentiment, to those of you entering the comment sections of the black creators who were on this trip using my name to justify you berating them, shut your fucking mouths. You don't speak for me. That's not what I'm about. I know they're lying. I don't fucking care. Focus your time and energy on not only following these creators right here, these creators right here, and making sure you're unfollowing these creators right here, these creators. You cannot be following these people. They are fucking liars. They will blatantly lie to cover their asses to make more money. They cannot be trusted. Fuck these people. And how do we continue? Well, first it starts with not letting these fucking people in these goddamn spaces. Stop letting the Deans, the Parkers, the Zs, the Andras, the XY white person lead these movements. Especially when they know fuck all about organizing and fuck all about these situations. They're just there for fucking money and to be debate bros. Fucking kick them to the curb. They're counter to the movement at this point. And I say counter to the movement because the movement is...
Do you think this guy knows that he's white?
No.
Progress. And silencing these voices and saying it's trivial and saying that we're focused on the mission at hand. How can we fight fascism and also fight racism? They're the same fucking thing. The reason they act so fucking obtuse in any situation like this is because they know if they have to stop for even a second to deconstruct, they will start losing money. Very quickly, they will learn that they don't know fucking anything. And they'll have to take a back seat to voices like these. It's always about fucking money with these people. You know what? Actually, fuck it. I'm just gonna speak candidly for a second.
Thank you.
Fuck all of these people. Like, actually.
So brave.
I swear to God, these people are fucking evil. They only care about money. It does not matter. Their bottom line is what matters. Sure, they're not gonna take money from Charlie Kirk, but hey.
From Z?
A racist like Z?
It's basically the same thing.
She says she's for the cause, so like, and here we are. Oh, this is trivial bullshit. What? She said a couple microaggressions. What? Micro, by the way. No, she was a fucking racist piece of shit on that live. That's what she was, and none of you wanted to call it out. I actually don't give a fuck anymore. You guys are sad, dude. All of you people are sad. You can't make money without the racist? Is that what it is?
Seriously?
Obviously, I know your platforms shrivel and die if the Conservative Party does, but I mean, like, you can't find a different, like, liberal white woman, right? Like, you can't find someone else. You had to try and cover it up. You had to try and lie. But the only reason you were acting that way was to try and cover your guys' ass and use me as a scapegoat. And hey, look at how well that did you. All of you are fucking sad and don't deserve these goddamn platforms. Fuck you.
Damn. God damn. My white savior. Yes. King. He's the only one whose story is lining up, okay? The only one. Okay, can we listen to this? This is important, okay?
And I walked into Justice White's chambers.
Yeah, way too sidetracked.
Jingling, jingling. He kind of looked strange at me, and I crossed my legs and $1.50. I didn't get an offer from him.
Tom Metzloff got that job, right? He clerked.
Yeah, Tom, my pencil ball opponent, got the job instead.
Yeah. So you really are a terrific writer, and you were back in law school as well. I still remember you're telling me that if I had a sentence that had 3 prepositional phrases or more, go back and rewrite the sentence because the sentence needed rewriting. Where'd you learn to write? And is there any one person who you credit for teaching you how to write?
Well, I think the way to learn to write is to read good writing. And I read a lot. I liked Conrad, and Elmore Leonard. I mean, Joseph Conrad, if you want to write long and flowing, elegant sentences, and Elmore Leonard, if you like punchy sentences. And I think that helped a lot. When it came to writing briefs, though, I had a secret weapon. I have 3 sisters. None of them is a lawyer, and yet they're very bright. And I would send, in most cases, a copy of the draft brief to them and ask them to read it once. And then I called them and asked them what it was about and who should win. And if your writing isn't clear enough for somebody who's an intelligent layperson to get through it and to understand, basically what's going on. I mean, they wouldn't say, under ERISA this or that, but they say, the guy who, was driving the truck, should have looked left and he looked right, and, the safety brake didn't work, so the other person could pay. And if it was the right answer, then, because I see it today, and I bet you do too, when you read so many briefs and you read them carefully, but it's not like you can devote as much attention to
Shut up.
Your hearing. So you want to make sure that somebody who's going to read through it once, maybe a little more quickly than you'd like, really gets the gist of what you want. Another thing I'd like to do.
That's a good piece of advice. That's actually a really good piece of advice. If you're right.
Wrong.